What if I told you that a man's obsession with you doesn't start with your beauty, your kindness, or how much you give, but the moment you hurt his ego just enough to make him question his power over you? Sounds cruel? Maybe. But let's talk about reality, not fairy tale. The truth is, men aren't wired to fall in love with comfort. They fall in love with uncertainty, contrast, and emotional tension. And nothing shakes a man's emotional core more than a woman who refuses to inflate his ego just because he's used to being praised, pursued, and prioritized. There's a powerful psychological shift that happens when a woman stops operating from approval-seeking behavior and instead taps into her emotional detachment, her standards, and her unwillingness to feed male entitlement. That shift is magnetic. It triggers something primal in him. He doesn't just want your attention, he needs to earn it. And when he can't, that's when he spirals into craving, overthinking, and chasing. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to flip the dynamic, not by playing games, but by understanding one brutal truth. The moment a man feels emotionally uncertain, his attractions skyrocket. You'll learn how to hold back in a way that's elegant, how to bruise his ego without breaking his spirit, and how to make him fall madly in love with the challenge that is you. Because love isn't about being available, it's about being unforgettable. And sometimes being unforgettable means being unimpressed. Let's begin. There's a dangerous lie many women are told from a young age. If you're nice enough, patient enough, understanding enough, he'll see your worth and love you right. But let's tell the truth. Being the nice girl in modern dating often doesn't lead to being chosen. It leads to being overlooked, undervalued, or worse, emotionally drained. Nice girls finish emotionally last because they give from a place of hoping to be chosen, rather than expecting to be respected. They constantly try to prove they're different from the rest. They tolerate inconsistent behavior, overlook red flags, make excuses for broken promises, and say yes when their soul is screaming no, all in the name of love. But here's the cold reality. Men don't fall for the woman who makes their life easy. They fall for the woman who makes them feel something real. Tension, desire, challenge, intrigue. And the woman who's always available, always agreeable, always giving. She doesn't create emotional tension. She creates comfort, and comfort breeds complacency. It's not that kindness is the problem. It's kindness without boundaries. Love without self-respect. Patience with no standards. That's what gets you taken for granted. Because the more you give without requiring anything in return, the more he subconsciously assumes your love is cheap. And love that feels cheap never earns loyalty, effort, or deep emotional investment. The nice girl often ends up as the emotional safety net, the therapist, the fallback. The woman he calls when his real life is falling apart, but not the one he fights to keep. Because she gave her heart before he proved he deserved it. She showed loyalty before commitment. She gave the girlfriend experience before she even knew if she was the priority. Meanwhile, the woman who sets boundaries, who says no with grace, who doesn't chase, who lets a man feel the weight of her absence. She commands attention, not because she's playing games, but because she's not afraid to walk away. And that energy, calm, secure, self-contained, is addictive. So if you've been the nice girl, it's not too late, but you need to wake up to the fact that overgiving is not love. It's self-abandonment, disguised as kinder. Love that costs your peace, your voice, and your self-worth is not love. It's sacrifice, and not the kind that builds a future. Stop trying to earn your place in a man's life by being the easiest, the most patient, or the most understanding. Start taking up space with your standard. Because the right man won't make you feel like being kind is a weakness. He'll meet your kindness with consistency. He'll match your softness with structure. And most importantly, he'll respect you not because you tolerated everything, but because you never had to. You don't have to stop being nice. You just have to stop being nice to people who don't deserve you. There's a hidden switch inside almost every man, a trigger wired directly to his ego. And once you flip it, his behavior starts to shift in ways you never expected. He calls more, he tries harder, he starts thinking about you in the middle of the day. That switch, it's not love. It's not even compatibility. It's his desire to prove himself to you. A desire fueled by one powerful emotion, uncertainty. You see, most men are used to being admired, complimented, validated for the bare minimum. And when a woman shows interest too quickly, gives access too easily, or communicates that she's already emotionally attached before he's earned it, his ego doesn't have to work. There's no tension, no challenge, no desire to chase. He may like you, but he doesn't crave you, because craving is born from lack, not abundance. The real ego trigger is subtle, and it starts when you interrupt the pattern of easy validation. You don't text back right away. You don't overshare. You don't rush to accommodate his schedule. You maintain your mystery. You smile, but with restraint. You're warm, but not eager. He can feel you like him, but he can't tell how much. And that not knowing, that's what sets off the chase. Because the male ego is addicted to earning. He wants to win. He wants to feel that he conquered something rare. If he knows you're already emotionally his without putting in real effort, the ego relaxes, the pursuit dies. But when you show him that he has to work to access your emotional world, that's when the game begins in his head. He doesn't just want to talk to you. He doesn't just want your time. He wants your approval. And when he doesn't get it right away, he starts working harder to secure it. This doesn't mean being manipulative or playing hard to get with no intention to connect. It means understanding that your emotional availability is sacred, that your presence is a privilege, not a prize that he automatically wins just by showing up. You're not rejecting him. You're just not handing him what he hasn't earned. And here's the beautiful twist. When a man's ego is triggered in this way, not by cruelty or arrogance, but by your composure and self-worth, he starts seeing you differently, not just as another woman, but as the woman. The one who made him feel uncertain, inspired, challenged and alive. The one who doesn't flinch when he pulls back. The one he can't impress with cheap words or shallow attention. The one he needs to win over, not because she's playing games, but because she knows who she is. And that's the key. It's not about hurting his ego just to hurt him. It's about protecting your energy in a way that makes his ego wake up and say, she's not like the rest, and I'm not letting her go. When it comes to love, most women are taught to be predictable. To text back fast, be consistent, be available, be sweet, and make sure he knows how much he means to you. But here's the truth no one tells you. Predictability kills desire. Certainty feels safe, yes, but it rarely feels exciting. And men don't chase what feels certain. They chase what feels just out of reach. Unpredictability doesn't mean being flaky or toxic. It means being multidimensional. It means you're not emotionally dependent on his validation, his schedule, or his moods. It means your life doesn't revolve around when he calls or whether he gives you attention. You're emotionally centered, but you're also unreadable in the most magnetic way. Think about it. The moment he knows what you'll say, how you'll respond, that you'll always be there, the game is over. Not because he stops liking you, but because his mind stops being stimulated. Men need emotional tension to stay engaged. It's the uncertainty, the I don't know if she's all in yet, that keeps them leaning forward. And here's where most women make the mistake. They give him everything too soon. Their schedule, their emotions, their attention, their approval. Without even realizing it, they become fully transparent, and while that might feel loving, it strips away the mystique that fuels attraction. The power of unpredictability is in keeping him emotionally alert. He doesn't know if you're free tonight, because sometimes you're not. He doesn't know if that look you gave him meant you're impressed or just being polite. He doesn't know if he's winning you over or still earning your trust. That slight uncertainty doesn't repel him. It pulls him in. It makes him curious, invested, and most importantly, emotionally active. And when a man is emotionally active, he starts associating his highs and lows with you. Every moment he wonders about you. Every second he replays your last conversation. Every time he questions whether he said the right thing, you're becoming part of his emotional wiring. And that's when he starts to fall. Not because you were easy to read, but because you were unexpected in a world full of women trying too hard to be liked. Unpredictability also signals one powerful truth: you have options. You're not clinging to the outcome. You're not desperate to lock anything down. You're open but not needy, warm but not chasing, feminine but not desperate. And that subtle difference is what keeps high-value men coming back. So if you've ever wondered why things fizzled out after giving your all, ask yourself this: did he know too much too fast? Did you become predictable before he had a chance to miss you? In love, mystery is not manipulation, it's protection, it's power. And it's the one thing that makes a man stop in his tracks and ask himself, who is she really? And how do I make her mine before someone else does? There's something unsettling, almost magnetic, about a woman who doesn't react, who doesn't chase, who doesn't crumble when he pulls away. And while society may label her as cold, to a man, she feels powerful. Why? Because in a world where so many women respond emotionally, over-explain, or try to fix what's broken, she becomes the one thing he can't control. And that's what shakes him. Coldness, in the context of dating, doesn't mean cruelty. It's not about being distant just to punish him. It's about the emotional restraint of a woman who doesn't beg for clarity, doesn't plead for love, and doesn't collapse into panic the moment she feels uncertainty. It's the poise she carries when she doesn't get what she wants, and doesn't fall apart because of it. That level of detachment isn't just rare, it's unnerving to a man who's used to having control. Here's what most people don't understand. Men are drawn to what makes them feel alive. And when a woman is overly warm, overly expressive, or always emotionally available, she becomes emotionally safe. She becomes the steady background noise he eventually stops noticing. But when she responds with silence, when she doesn't mirror his energy, when she withdraws with elegance and gives him nothing to feed his ego, that absence starts echoing in his mind. He'll replay her reactions, try to decode her silence, wonder why she didn't react, and most of all, he'll feel that unfamiliar sensation. He's not in control. That's what coldness does. It disrupts his ego. And that disruption, it sparks desire. Because desire isn't born in certainty. It's born in the gap between what he wants and what he's actually getting. Coldness also communicates this. I don't need to be chosen by you. I've already chosen myself, and that energy is terrifyingly attractive. It tells him she has boundaries. She won't tolerate breadcrumbs. She's willing to walk away. That's power, and men respect, even obsess over women they can't emotionally shake. Ironically, the colder you are in key emotional moments, the more he feels pulled in. It's reverse psychology on a primal level. Your silence makes more noise than your word. Your distance creates more intimacy than your attention. Your indifference makes him feel more, not less. Because here's the truth. When a man knows he can emotionally rock you, he stops valuing you. But when he senses that you can vanish with grace, with zero drama and zero desperation, that's when his mind spirals. That's when he starts chasing. Not because you manipulated him, but because you mastered your emotional discipline. So the next time you're tempted to react, to explain, to soften your stance just to keep the peace, pause, let the silence speak. Let your absence do the heavy lifting. Because in that space, he won't just feel your coldness. He'll feel your power, and he'll realize that if he doesn't show up right, he'll lose something he can't replace. One of the most painful traps women fall into is overinvesting emotionally in a man far too early. It starts subtly, answering every text within seconds, rearranging your schedule to accommodate his, thinking about where the relationship is going after only a few dates, reading into every word he says and hoping he's the one. But here's the hard truth. Emotional overinvestment too soon doesn't make a man love you more. It makes him value you less. When a man senses that you've become emotionally attached before he's even shown consistent effort, the dynamic shifts. He no longer has to earn your affection. He doesn't feel the need to impress you. The mystery fades, the challenge disappears, and worst of all, he starts to feel in control. The emotional scale becomes unbalanced, with you constantly giving, hoping, and overthinking, while he sits back comfortably detached. But the real danger of overinvesting isn't just that it turns him off. It's that it disconnects you from your own power. You start abandoning yourself to gain him. You stop listening to your intuition. You overlook red flags. You excuse bad behavior. You confuse chemistry for compatibility. And before you know it, your emotional world revolves around a man who hasn't even proven he deserves to be at the center of it. So how do you stop overinvesting? It starts with a mental shift. He is not the prize. You are. His attention is not a gift. Your energy is. Stop seeing every interaction as a step toward forever. Instead, treat the early stages for what they are, a trial period. He's not your man until he proves himself through consistent action over time. No more falling in love with potential. No more fantasizing about who he could be. You only respond to who he actually is in real time. The key is emotional discipline. Don't rush to emotionally bond just because you feel chemistry. Let him earn access to your deeper self. Observe more, attach less. Don't overshare, don't overexplain. Don't offer emotional intimacy that hasn't been reciprocated with effort and consistency. Protect your peace until it's safe to open up. Also, build a full life outside of him. Pour into your passions, your friendships, your goals. When your life is full, you don't feel the urge to emotionally attach to someone prematurely, because you know you're already whole without them. That energy, the energy of fullness, confidence, and calm detachment, is what makes a man invest in you, not the other way around. And remember, you don't have to be cold to be powerful. You just have to be selective. Every time you pause before overgiving, before emotionally spiraling, before chasing, you're honoring yourself. You're showing the universe and him that your heart is not cheap, that your love must be earned, not assumed. The less you overinvest in the wrong people, the faster the right one will show up and fight to earn every part of you. You don't have to yell, insult, or play dirty to shake a man's ego. In fact, the most powerful way to bruise his ego is so subtle, so graceful, that it leaves him both intrigued and unsettled. It's not about being mean, it's about being unmoved, and that one trait alone can flip the dynamic entirely. A man's ego isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it hides behind confidence, charm, or even vulnerability. But underneath it all, most men carry an unspoken desire to feel desired on their terms. The moment you shift the power by not giving him that, by showing that his presence doesn't impress or overwhelm you, that's when his ego takes a hit. Start with this. Don't be overly impressed. When he brags, name drops, flexes his money, status, or popularity, just smile politely and change the subject. Don't reward his performance. Let your silence or neutral response say, "That's not what gets my attention." Suddenly, he's unsure. And that uncertainty, it eats at him. Another powerful move is to not initiate. When you stop texting first, calling, or chasing conversations, you send a silent message. If you want me, you'll have to come get me. You're no longer fueling his ego with the comfort of your constant interest. And when that comfort disappears, he starts questioning his grip on you. Then there's the art of lightly disagreeing. When he expects you to laugh at his jokes or agree with his opinions just because he said them, surprise him. Challenge an idea, offer a different perspective, say, "I don't really see it that way," and leave it at that. You've just signaled that you're not here to play along, you're here to be real, and that quiet independence is more disarming than any insult could ever be. You can also withhold emotional reaction. When he cancels plans last minute or gives half-hearted effort, don't argue or explain how disappointed you are. Just respond with calm indifference. No worries, followed by silence. That lack of emotional payoff, it bruises the ego more than a fight ever could. He expects drama. Instead, you give him distance. And in that quiet space, his mind starts spinning. Complimenting others in his presence, casually, effortlessly, can also strike a chord, not in a disrespectful way, but in a way that reminds him he's not the only one who can catch your eye. Say something kind about another man's ambition, style, or intellect. Just enough for him to notice that your attention isn't locked on him. It's subtle, but trust me, it lands. Finally, the biggest ego bruise of all, being okay without him. When you radiate that you're content, happy, and thriving in your own life, with or without his energy in it, that hits differently, because it says, "You don't complete me. I was whole before you showed up." And that quiet, confident detachment, it's not cold, it's not rude, it's powerful. It's the kind of energy that shakes a man up and makes him realize he's not in control. Obsession doesn't start with beauty. It doesn't even start with chemistry. It starts with energy. The kind of energy that high-value women naturally radiate. They don't chase, they don't prove, and they never need to be chosen. And that's exactly why men find themselves completely drawn in, even addicted to them. A high-value woman doesn't create obsession by begging for attention or trying to win love. She creates obsession by being deeply rooted in herself. She knows who she is. She knows what she brings to the table, and she refuses to shrink just to keep a man interested. That self-assurance is magnetic. It leaves a man constantly wondering, how do I get closer to her, and how do I keep her? She creates obsession by having boundaries that are non-negotiable. If he crosses a line, emotionally, physically, or spiritually, she doesn't explain it 10 times or wait for him to realize. She simply steps back. That quiet discipline sends a loud message. You don't get to access me when you haven't earned me. And a man will feel that loss hard, not because she screamed or chased, but because she disappeared with dignity. High-value women also create obsession by maintaining mystery. They don't reveal everything up front. They share just enough to be open, but never so much that there's nothing left to discover. They understand that men are wired to pursue, to unravel, to figure her out. And when she remains unpredictable, emotionally elegant, but never entirely readable, he stays engaged. Because mystery invites pursuit, and pursuit breeds emotional investment. She's not the loudest in the room, but her presence is undeniable. She doesn't need to prove her worth. Her energy does that for her. The way she walks, the way she holds eye contact, the way she doesn't rush to fill silence, all of it tells him, I don't need you, I choose you. And that choice is rare. That rarity creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. Obsession also builds when she doesn't react to pressure. If he pulls back to test her, she doesn't flinch. If he plays games, she doesn't participate. If he disappears, she doesn't check. That emotional steadiness is unnerving to a man who's used to women crumbling at the first sign of distance. It makes her unforgettable. Because she's not just another girl, she's an experience. And most of all, a high-value woman creates obsession by being fulfilled in her own life. She has goals, friends, passions, and joy that exist with or without him. That independence isn't threatening, it's intoxicating. It shows him that being with her is a privilege, not a rescue mission. He starts to fear losing her, not because she's manipulative, but because she's irreplaceable. That's what obsession really is. A man realizing that no matter who else he meets, no one will feel like her. If you truly want a man to crave you for life, it starts with one simple but powerful truth. He must feel that being with you elevates his life, not completes it, not fixes it, but challenges and expands it. Craving is born not out of comfort, but out of impact. And when a woman knows her worth, carries herself with emotional elegance, and refuses to settle for less than what she deserves, she becomes unforgettable. A man craves a woman who doesn't chase love, but attracts it, who doesn't cling but allows space, who doesn't demand validation, because she knows she's enough. That energy, that calm, grounded confidence, creates something rare in today's world. Emotional pull. He starts to crave her presence, not because she's always there, but because her absence lingers, her silence makes noise, her boundaries create desire, and most of all, her standards create growth. To make him crave you for life, stop making him your emotional center. Keep your world vibrant, full, and exciting with or without him. Let him witness a life that's thriving, independent, and purpose-driven. When a man sees that you're whole on your own, he doesn't feel burdened, he feels inspired. And that inspiration turns into admiration. Admiration turns into desire, and desire turns into loyal obsession. Don't overgive, don't over-explain, don't try to win him. Let him win you. You don't need to prove anything. The right man will recognize your value, not just in how you treat him, but in how you treat yourself. Self-respect is the root of lasting attraction. When you walk away from disrespect, when you speak up without fear, when you prioritize your peace over his approval, you instantly raise your value in his eyes. Craving is also born in contrast. Be warm, but not available 24/7. Be present, but still mysterious. Be supportive, but never self-sacrificing. That balance makes you irresistible. It says, I love deeply, but I love myself first. And that kind of energy is rare. It teaches him that your love is not a transaction. It's a privilege that requires effort, consistency, and respect. The secret to being craved for life isn't manipulation or games. It's mastery. Mastery of your emotions, mastery of your boundaries, mastery of your energy. When you move through life like a woman who is complete, when you embody peace, confidence, and purpose, you become the kind of woman he doesn't just want,